Well, hello everybody. It's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work alongside Maggie and Lauren to bring you some wonderful crochet projects. Right now, we're tagging on to our temperature blanket squares that we're doing this year. Mine is going to represent 2022 of Fairbanks, Alaska, and that's because we went there on vacation last year. We got to see the Northern Lights and just got to meet so many nice people. But anyway, on to the project. So I'm able to move ahead in my squares because it was last year. So my squares represent, now this is just one of the squares. This one's actually for February. This one represents their long days and long nights that they have sometimes through the season. But what I did is for each month I'm doing 4 squares. My 4 squares represent, this is January, orange tag, and I'll show you what I did. I suggested, if I can get my paperwork somehow, some way, suggested when you write down your temperatures, you write down, you mark them, you mark orange. So January, I know would be all the low temperatures. January, the red one, is all the high temperatures. And then what else I did is I picked average temperature. I didn't pick it. I found out what the average temperature for the whole month of January was. So I did a square for that one. That's what this beautiful light green represents. And then I took 12 facts. I only came up to 10. I have to think of 2 more. 12 wonderful facts about Alaska, like Northern Lights. So this one back here will represent my Northern Lights. But then, like, they have the shortest and longest days. Their Alaska colors are blue and gold. It's the state with the most people that are in the military. It's I think it's something like over 50%. They have the Alaska pipeline. They've only ever had 1 tornado hit. They have 3 million lakes. They have the very largest forest. They still do gold mining. And I have some Alaska yarn, but yet I have to come up with 2 more fun facts about Alaska. And see, I'm still marking blue, yellow, yellow. I'm marking the stitch markers that I have on there so I know what is what. Because me, I will forget. Unfortunately, my memory is not that good. So these are my January squares, but I want to show you what we're doing first. So since I'm doing 4 squares each row and I'm doing 12 rows. So if I do my squares, so what you have to look at is this would be the first square. So this would be all my lows. This would be my highs. This would be the average color. And this would be my specialty square. Then it would be 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Okay. But how we start this border that I picked, and trust me, I took a lot of time deciding which border I wanted for this. But we start on this block. So what you do is you start at the top and you crochet over. After you go over on this first block, then you go down. Okay, then you go across, and then you would have your third block, because remember, one's over here. Then you would crochet up, and these would be joined. Then you go over again. Then you go down. Then you go over, then you go up. And this is the method that you do this in. And then when you get to your number 1 block, since there's no more going over, then you go all the way over here. and then you will go down, and then you would start all over again. You don't go down these sides, you just go down to connect. And you do that, and you don't do this side to the very end. Okay? So I do recommend that you use the same hook that you have used making your squares. So then my first square would be the Northern Lights square. Okay. And these markers indicate that it's the front side for me. And they mark, that's where I started this square. So this square will always be to my left as I'm doing them. All right. So starting on square 1, before we put it in, you need to count. Now, if you did 31 rows like I showed, then you will have 17 areas to crochet into. You should count to make sure you have 17. You count each ends on each side, okay? So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, okay? So you start in a corner. So you put your hook in, and then you attach your yarn. You bring it through, and you chain 1, and then you chain 2 more. So you have a chain 3. And then I want you to put in, let me bring it a little closer. Then I want you to put 2 more double crochets in that corner. So you have 3 double crochets, then you chain 3. Okay. Then you put 3 more in that same corner. And 3. So all your corners will be 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets. So now I want you to just chain 1, and each one of these openings, and all of them, and each of them, I want you to put in 2 double crochets, chain 1. Now I did try this with 3 double crochets, chain 1, and it just becomes very overcrowded, and it just does not sit well. It's not pretty to the eyes for me. If you choose you want to do 3, you can do 3, but you put 2 double crochets in, and then you chain 1. So that's 2, and chain 1, and 2. And chain 1, and 2. Chain 1. All right, I will meet you at the end. Okay, now I am coming to my corner again, and in this corner you will put in 3 double crochets, chain 3, and 3 more. Let me zoom you out a little bit here. Whoop, wrong direction. Chain 3, and 3 more double crochets. Any ends that I didn't put in before I did this, I will tie in after I'm done this part of joining. Okay. So then, now remember, this is the top, because there's my stitch markers. So we're going to go down to the side. We're going to do the same thing on the side. You count again. You should, if you want to, you can always count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Just be on the safe, because you know what? You really don't want your project to end up crooked. So then after you did your corner, you chain 1 and you put in 2 double crochets. Chain 1, 2 double crochets. Chain 1, and you do this all the way down. So it's 2 double crochets, and then you chain 1. Now don't worry, when we're all done joining this, we're going to put on a nice thick border of the same color, same steps, but just to make it a little thicker, just to make it look more set in. It'll be really pretty, I promise. I have started temperature blankets in the past and never finished them. This one I will be finishing for many reasons, but the big one is this is my Alaska trip. This was a trip in a lifetime for me. Maggie is doing the year she was born. Now she struggled at finding all the temperatures for that because it's not, you know, in the recent couple of years. No, I'm not saying she's old before anybody says anything. I'm just saying, you know, we're over 20, so it goes back, but you can find it. It just takes some time. And if you are looking for something special and you really can't find it, please message Maggie and myself. We will do everything we can to try to help find any information that you need to do your temperature blanket. So your temperature blanket doesn't have to be for this year. It can be for anything. It could be the year you had your child. It could be the year your grandchild was born, the city and state, whatever works for you. We're going all the way down. Chain 1. Chain 1. And my last one here. It's a corner, so we put in 3. Now, see how pretty this lays here? And you count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So, if you look at your square, this is what you're seeing so far. Okay, sorry about that. I had to check on something. Anyway, so now we're down at the corner. Now see how nice this sits flat with 2 double crochets and chain 1? If you would be doing 3, it would be buckling, and I really don't recommend that. Okay, so now remember, this is square 4 on row 1, okay? So then, what I need is square 3. And as you can see, this is my square 3. I have it marked. It's the average temperatures of the month. So, and this is really where these stitch markers really come into play. Very helpful, very, very helpful. Unbelievable helpful, because I get confused sometimes figuring what ends up. Okay, so these are my 2 squares that I'm doing right now. So I already came down on the side of square 4, and I only did half. I did 3 double crochets in the corner. So now what I want to do, now please trust me on this, it will work. It's going to look, what's a good word? It's going to look awkward right now, but it all washes out. I promise, promise, promise. So you did your 3 double crochets. I want you to just do a chain 3 here. 1, 2, and 3. And then I want you to come in. Now, did you count to make sure? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay? Please do that. You will thank me later. I promise, promise, promise. So we take our 2 corners. Now you did 3 double crochets and a chain 3 like I asked. Wrap it because we're going to be doing a double crochet right in to the corner of this one. So 3 double crochets. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird, weird, weird. So go through the top. 2 and 3. Okay. Now they're joined. Look at that. Yay. It is the small things. So now I am gonna put mine together like this just because it's easier for me. Here's a tail that I didn't weave in yet, but that's really okay. So now I want you to chain 1. I want you to come over to your first chain 1, and I want you to come underneath and do a slip stitch in it. Okay, chain 1. And then you go in the top of this, and then you will do 2 double crochets. Chain 1. Go in this, your next chain 1, okay? And do a slip stitch. Come underneath, grab your yarn, come through, and just slip stitch. And chain 1. Then you go to your next and do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Chain 1. Slip stitch in your next one, your next chain 1. And chain 1. Come on down here. Do 2 double crochets. And chain 1 again. And go into your next chain 1 and just do a slip stitch and chain 1. And come down to your next and do 2 double crochets. Chain 1 and do a slip stitch. Chain 1. 2 double crochets. Chain 1. Slip stitch. Chain 1. And come on down to your, I guess this would be square 3 for me. 2 double crochets. Chain 1. Go to your next one, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. chain 1, slip stitch, come in underneath, okay, and chain 1, and you do 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, come into your next one, slip stitch, chain 1, and here 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, come on up here and you slip stitch, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, and chain 1, and in your next chain 1 do a slip stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and you slip stitch, chain 1. I'm doing this whole row with you just to make sure you're okay. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and 2 double crochets, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, 2, chain 1, and a slip stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and slip stitch, chain 1. Oh, look, we're at the corner. Put in 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, slip stitch into that corner, chain 1, and then put 3 more double crochets in here, 1, 2, and 3. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Let me zoom you out. Zooming out a word, an expression. Am I saying that wrong? But anyway, look at this join. It's absolutely gorgeous. I am so in love with it. And see, it interlocks really nice. Let me bring you up here a little bit. There you go. So you can see a little better. Isn't it pretty? Absolutely pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go across here, do your count again. Make sure you got 17. The 2 double crocheted chain 1, 2 double crocheted chain 1. Then you're going to go down. Then you're going to keep adding. And then we're going to meet up back when we are at square 1, and I'll show you what to do there. Okay? I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, I'm back. Now what I did is I got all 4 of my squares attached, and on the last square, this is technically square 1, but it's the last one you attached in your row. So you did all the way across, and then you got in the corner, you did 3 double crochets, chain 3 double crochets, and then you did it 2 double crochets, chain 1 all the way down. So now we're at the bottom. As you can see, so what we're going to do is we're going to work across now. All right, let's bring you in. So I did this corner already, 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets. So now I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets in each one until we meet the center point, the connecting from square to square. So I just want you to do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in each one till you get to the connecting. I will add, while I'm doing this, weaving in your ends on this project as you go along on those squares, because there's so many of them. It is very important that you actually take your time and weave in your ends to make sure everything's nice and snug and it can't get pulled out. Because if you don't put all this work into this project, the last thing you want is that coming undone. I am planning a video on showing how you can repair some projects that did get ripped or just old, need to be fixed. This year, Maggie and I have so many things that we want to do for everybody, but we do hold full-time jobs down. So this is something we work really hard on in our free time, and I really hope you guys learn and enjoy this craft as much as we do. Now we're coming up finally to the join part. What I'll do again is, before we do the join, the connecting part, then I count. Make sure we have the same amount that we need, because I really hate to have to frog anything. What a difference this is since I blocked my squares. It is something I am strongly going to recommend that you guys do before you connect them. Blocking really makes a difference in projects. Okay. Now here's my corner. So I'm going to put 3 double crochets in there, the other half of the 3. I'm going to stop right there on the first count. So it's 1, 2, 3. Look, I only put 1 double crochet in there. That's why it is so important to check yourself, because we are human. So let me fix this and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I fixed it. I would have known it was there and it would have driven me nuts. So we'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And my 3 is 17. Okay. So now I'm in the corner and I put my 3 in there. So now I want you to chain 1. Then I want you to go into the center and go in through the top, grab yarn, come on back and slip stitch and chain 1. And then you go over to your other corner and you finish your other 3. 1, 2, and 3. And look how it sits. It works. It's not awkward anymore. It works beautifully. And then when we add the other ones. So I am going to finish going across and I'm going to meet you and I'll show you how to start row 2. Okay, now I finished my join, but you remember when we were finishing that bottom, that's actually our bottom and this is our top. Here is my January low, my January high. There we go. January high. There's my January average. And here is my January special, which is for the Northern Lights. Now remember, we will not finish this edge to the very end of the project. You have to be at the end. Okay. So now that I got you through attaching and joining and starting with the first row, I'm going to show you how to add on to the next row. Okay. So again, we will start with the final square because our first one's at the other end. So this one, I just love how it turned out. This is for the days and nights because their days and nights go to very extreme. I think in the summertime, it doesn't get dark till about midnight. And then the sun is up again around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, in the morning, 3 or 4 in the morning. So they only have darkness for like 4 hours at the most. They have some twilight in the summer. And then in the winter, their nights get very long and their daylight gets very short. So that's why I did this. White and black, day and night. That's what I went with. So now, when you finish the corner of the bottom row going across, remember in the corner, you only put in 3 double crochets. That's it. Okay. So now, again, I'm using my stitch markers to say this is the front side, this in the upper left-hand corner. That's how I want my squares done. Okay. So I'm going to take this corner right here. After I did my 3 double crochets, I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Let me try to bring in a little more so you're not wondering what I'm doing here. Then I'm going to attach my next block. And see here, there's the stitch marker, so I know that's the right side. I'm going to go right here. After I chain 3, and get my corner. Right here's my corner. And I'm going to put in 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to chain 1 And yep, we're going to go back to the same thing. Here's my thing, my first chain one after the corner. I'm going to slip stitch, chain one. I go down here and I put in 2 double crochets. Then I chain one up here. In the next chain one space, I put a slip stitch and chain one and 2 double crochets. And chain one. And then a slip stitch. And chain one. And this is what we keep doing till we get to the end of this block. Now this is a stitch that I saw from Fiber Spider. He does magnificent tutorials. I added a few tweaks on my own because I just liked the way it looked a little better. But I got the idea from him, and he got the idea from another crocheter. I cannot think of her name right at this moment. So 2 double crochets, chain one, then you go in your next chain one space and you slip stitch, and you chain one, and then you put 2 double crochets, and that's what we do all the way over. If you hear someone moving around in here, it's my dog, Moo. His name's Moose, but we call him Moo. He's a 13-pound Pika Pom. He is my buddy. I enjoy him a lot. He can be very entertaining. He's a very happy dog. He loves life. I'm going to keep reminding you to make sure you check your counts. Really important. Especially when you're doing a project of this size. Frogging can be so stressful and so frustrating. Hi, Mamosh. I'm doing this one whole block with you so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Because I really want to be thorough on this. I want you to be able to see all the steps, and maybe you see me do it a couple times, and that would help you. But this is not a joining that you should be scared of. Come on, Moo. Anyway, my Moo has to come up here and smell everything and see if I have any food, which I don't. Okay, now I reached my corner. I am going to do my 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And before I go any further, again, I am going to count. Look how pretty that is. That's, I love it. So anyway, here's my corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and my corner is 17. Okay. So now I did my 3 double crochets. Make sure he's not chewing anything he shouldn't have, and he is a bead. What else do you got, Mo? Okay. Guys, I apologize. I don't want him chewing things he shouldn't be chewing. Here's his paw. Hey, there's my buddy's paws. Say hi, Moo. All right, go ahead down, bud. Ugh. All right, so now you did 3 double crochets in the corner and you chained 1. So this is where this gets a little tricky. That's why I wanted to really take my time. Now, do you see this combination here in the middle where you did? So we're going to be doing an angle, diagonal across. You take the block that is diagonal to you and you see your corner. Do you see where the join splits? 3 double crochets and your space here and 3 double crochets. We're going into that space right between the double crochets, right there. Okay, so what I want you to do is you take your hook and you go underneath and you go through them. You grab your hook yarn, you go through, and I want you to slip stitch. Then I want you to chain 1 again. And that is how you do that corner. So then what we need to do is you come on down and I need you to put in your 3 more double crochets to do the corner. 1, 2, and 3. And then just do your side as you know it. So you would chain 1 and put 2 double crochets in all the way down. I'll see you at the end of this row. Okay, now I went down all the way down that row and I counted. Okay, make sure I have the number that I need to have. So then it is time for my next square. And look, there's my corner. I'm telling you, that is the best trick ever. You don't ever have to question what is what. So here's my next square. This is the average temperature for the month of February. All right, so now we're down here. And it's the same thing that we did up here. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll go into this corner here. And we'll do 3 double crochets. The reason I'm showing you this in particular because the joining of the corner up there on when you're doing your last join is different. So I'm going to do my 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Now I'm going to turn this sideways so I can do this right. Chain 1, and then I'm going to go into my chain 1 space, slip stitch, chain 1, and put 2 double crochets in here. And chain 1. You go in your next chain 1 and you slip stitch. Chain 1. All right, you know how to do this, so I'll meet you up in the corner. Okay, so I went all the way up the other side. Now I'm in the center point. Now this is the last join in this intersection. And what I mean by that is there's no more joins that's going to be going there after this last one that I'm adding. So for all the ones that still have more to be added, you follow the rule of chain 1, diagonal, go in, chain 1 and back. But if you're doing your last one, okay, this is what's important. You put in your 3 double crochets in the corner. I want you to chain 1. Then we're going to do the diagonal again. So the diagonal for mine is this one. It's diagonal. Okay. So you find the corner and you the split in the corner, the chain 3 space chain 3 right there. Okay. So you're going to take your hook to go underneath. You can come up in the middle of that one. Then you grab some yarn and bring it through. And I want you to slip stitch. And then this time you chain 2. You need more room because it's a bulkier center. And then after you chain 2, you go back down and you do your 3 double crochets. And you continue on as you know. Okay, and chain 1, then in here you put in 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and so forth. Now you know how to do this blanket. Now I am not at the end to show you how to do this edge, but I can tell you when you get to your bottom, say this is your bottom piece right here. Say this is your bottom. So you went across, okay? In the corner, it's 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. Then you just do your normal going all the way up here, and you should know what to do in this corner. After you do your 3 double crochets, you chain 1, you slip stitch, chain 1, and you go to the next one. Same as you did going across. But look at how, trying to get this to sit right. Anyway. Oh, I'm double crocheting when I should be adding on. Ain't I silly? I don't think I told you that. So it's the three double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And you chain 1, and then you loop into your next chain 1 space. Right there. Sorry, I don't know where my brain was on that one. And then 3 double crochets. 2 double crochets. I don't know why number 3 sticking on me. But anyway, so the only difference is When it's your last one in the join, after you join, you chain 2. Okay. And then for the edge, it's the same as when you're going across. When you're doing the edge here, when you hit here, you do your 3 double crochets in the corner, chain 1, you slip stitch into this long chain, chain 1, and you continue. And that is how all your joining is done for this wonderful, beautiful, beautiful blanket. And I can't wait to see yours. Come, please join us on our Facebook group. It's WIP, W-I-P, and Chain for Work in Progress. And we would love to see you there. And if you have any questions, if you need me to do a live video to help you, I'd be more than happy to. We're here to help. So if this video was helpful to you and you enjoyed it, can you please hit that like button and subscribe button? And also don't forget the bell. Every time a new one is released, you'll get an alert. But thank you for your time, everybody. Happy crocheting. Stay safe and enjoy this hobby. It's a lot of fun.